You need a kit to take you to a shelter if you're going to a shelter. Bear in mind that in a shelter they give you basically three things. They give you food and water, they give you a place to sleep, and they give you first aid if you need it. And you have to have stuff with you. For example, you get hold of a duffel bag. Doesn't need to be that big. One of the things you want in the duffel bag is a spare set of keys, because when you leave your home, you want to lock it, but you want to get back in when you come home. You need a spare set of keys and include a spare key for your car. You need perhaps a change of underwear, a pair of pajamas. You're going to have 30 to 40 to 50 people in a shelter, side by side. You want something to keep you a little bit busy. A book, anything like that. If you do puzzles, crossword puzzles. You want to also have some money because you want to be able to make a phone call, and believe it or not, you're liable to run into either a pay telephone, there are still some around, or a small convenience store outside. Another part of your kit is for the kit when you are taken to a shelter, you need a piece of paper with information. It's very important, especially for old-timers like me who take medications. You need a piece of paper that has on it the name, dosage of every medication that you take, and the name, address, and telephone number of the doctor who prescribed it, and the name, telephone number, and address of the pharmacy that filled it, and also a small supply of your actual medications. So many people end up at a shelter and they say, well, what medications are you taking? And they say, as I would, oh, easy. I take 2 white, 3 blue, and 2 yellow. And what are they? I have that written down on my paper with the information. You also have on it the name and telephone number of your emergency communications person. And we'll talk about that under the Make a Plan section. Okay, also consider having a kit for your car. Just some stuff to eat and drink when you're in your car, if you use your car. That's number one, get a kit. Number two, make a plan. You got to have a plan. I mentioned already an emergency communications network. Sounds complicated, huh? Mm-hmm. It isn't. You call up someone that you know who lives out of the area. I don't mean a block away. I mean your cousin Helen in Ohio. You say, hey, Helen, if there's ever an emergency in Boston, don't call me. I'll call you. Because it's a lot easier to get a phone call out than it is to get a phone call in. Then you call everybody around who will want to know that you're okay, and you tell them, if there's an emergency, don't call me, call cousin Helen. She will know how I am. And that way, they will know that you're okay. So much for the emergency communications network. You should have 2 meeting places in case you're not at home or you have to leave your home. One near and one far. Near meeting places, obviously, in case of a fire. We've talked about that before. In a fire, you have to get out of your house and you need a meeting place so that you can make sure everybody's there. You also need one if you can't get to your home, farther away from home, and everybody needs to know where the meeting places are. You also have to have a plan not only for your home. You should have a plan for your workplace, a plan for your kids at school. What will happen to your kids in school in a disaster? Will they just let them go home? Will they release them to anybody who shows up? Or will they release them only to somebody whose name is on a pre-approved list? And don't forget a plan for your pets, because shelters do not accommodate pets except for service animals like seeing eye dogs. Okay, let's talk now about number 3. Be informed. Know ahead of time what can happen in your area. Well, I've lived in the Boston area all my life, and everything has happened here just about. I know about 50 years ago, that for me was yesterday, they had a tornado in Auburn, which is about 40 miles from here, and it really caused a lot of problem. I know that we have had terrible storms, winter and summer, and they have said that Boston is on a fault line. We could have an earthquake. So you have to know what can happen and know what the government agencies in your area will do, how they are prepared and how they will help. And that's easy to find out because you can call up the preparedness outfits in your area. The police have a plan, the fire department has a plan, your municipality will have a plan. Okay, those are your three things. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. One other thing that you should do is review your kit and plan every 6 months just to make sure everything is ready. Now, let's take another couple of minutes to watch one final video dealing with preparedness.
It's the huge number of casualties has been overwhelming. So it's been chaotic, and it's probably been worse than anything I ever seen. For the traumatic patients injured, we lose a lot of patients in the earthquake because we're not there, because we can't get there within the first 48 hours. What we see is limb injuries, fractures, that sort of stuff. But the rest, the chest injuries, the abdominal injuries, they die before we get there. So the gap there, first 48, 72 hours are really important. We should try to cover that gap.
D'accord. Travaille ce sauveur bien-aimé, son nom fait vibrer mon cœur. 2, 3.
Show this there, and we will. Okay.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you.
¿Ah? ¿Cómo llegó acá?
¿Cómo llegó acá?
Sí.
Après Léon, après 3 personnes ne peuvent pas passer.
Oui.
Ay, ay, ay.
Okay, this is good.